Hey, alright guys, and welcome to a new thing that I wanted to do on my channel. This is called story time. Basically, any stories that I have that I think you guys will like and you'll be interested in, I sort of just tell you the story. If you guys have any stories you want to know or anything about me that you want to know, please make sure you put them in the comments, leave a like, and also subscribe if you're new here. However, for today's video, I thought we sort of just start right at the beginning of how I ended up in a boy band. Also, apologies for the hair. It's like 10 o'clock at night and I didn't put anything in it this morning, so apologies. The best place to probably start with this is with a friend of mine called Ethan. Ethan was someone that I met when I was in my teens and we both had a similar interest in music. However, his was more the singing kind of thing and I was just wanting to be a guitarist with maximum doing backup vocals. This ended up becoming a really good partnership and we ended up doing loads of little shows together, which turned into slightly bigger shows. It was just something we both enjoyed and we both had, as I said, an interest in music. And yeah, and as I said at the beginning of this, I didn't consider myself a singer. I was merely a backup singer for him. I did the odd harmony, I just played the guitar and I was so content with that. However, a couple moments ended up changing my path. Ethan, being the very supportive guy that he is, helped me record a song to put onto my Instagram. I ended up singing a version of a song called Hollywood's Bleeding by Post Malone. However, I didn't really think it was that good and I wasn't really confident with posting singing videos. So in my mind, I just thought the best thing to do was to kind of just scrap it. However, as I was leaving Ethan's house that day, he told me that I'd massively regret it if I didn't post that video. He was extremely supportive, knowing that I wasn't a full-time singer and I didn't have much confidence in myself, and I'll always appreciate him for that. I ended up going home and posting the video, just turned my phone off, and I just thought I'm not going to look at it until the morning because I'll get in my own head about it. However, I woke up the next morning and I ended up getting a lot of praise from a lot of my friends and family and sometimes people that I didn't even know. And again, as I said, this wasn't something that I usually do, so it was a massive confidence boost. A few days later, I ended up getting a message off someone called Tommy Lyon. At the time, Tommy had just started TikTok. He had like 200k at the time on TikTok. He had like 15,000 followers on Instagram, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, who's this guy? He ended up telling me about this idea he had about a boy band with someone they knew called Pedro. But apparently they hadn't met in person either. I was kind of on the fence with the idea because, as I said, I wasn't someone that particularly wanted to be a singer when I was older, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be someone to be able to handle that sort of pressure. I ended up ignoring him for like a week or two and just sort of went about my normal business. I didn't even mention it to Ethan, I didn't mention it to my mum and dad, kind of just kept it to myself, so the only person who had an opinion on it was me. Long story short, after a lot of like phone calls and convincing from the two guys, I ended up agreeing. I ended up getting a train into London. I ended up like meeting the boys, and by that point they'd already added two other members called Ryan and James. As I said, I was completely out of my comfort zone and I didn't really know what I was doing. Wasn't sure if this was something I was going to go through with. The idea alone of just downloading TikTok at the time, when it was still something that I didn't know as anything other than cringy, really scared me. I didn't want to end up embarrassing myself in front of my friends and, you know, as well as loads of other people. The idea when we met up was just to film a few videos and kind of just see if it worked, see if we kind of got on, see if people would actually care if there was a new boy band kicking about. And then I can't remember who came up with the idea, but someone suggested doing something called a Guess Who's Singing. I'd never heard of the idea before. It wasn't me that came up with it. I don't take any credit for it. However, we ended up filming a video where we just stood in a line. I think Tommy was the one singing. I'm not sure if anyone figured that out yet, but big mystery over, it was Tommy. And the rest of us just mimed and pretended to sing and see if people could guess it. Overnight, it ended up doing millions and millions of views, and I couldn't believe it. I woke up and I ended up checking my phone the morning after we posted it the night before, and I had about 1,000 followers on Instagram the day before. I woke up in the morning and I had like 20k, and I think at that point I kind of just got hooked on the idea of gaining followers and putting your face out there and doing something music wise. And that morning was the morning I realized that the boy band wasn't just some hobby or side job, it was an opportunity. And since that day, the band that would go on to be called Here at Last have done 2 sold-out tours, selling out Shepherd's Bush Empire in the process, gaining 3 million followers on TikTok, 150,000 on Instagram, played countless festivals, and gained millions of fans that are now known as the Halos, which is you guys. And honestly, you guys managed to turn my life around. And honestly, without you guys, I'd be still at my 9 to 5 with no goals, no aims or accomplishments in mind, and all in all lost. But now I'm living a dream. I've moved out of my house. I've moved out of my parents' house. I live with 4 of the best guys in the world, and I'm just a way happier person for it. But it was always the little steps along the way that put me on this path. So first of all, my family, if any of my family members are watching, thank you. The support you guys gave me so much confidence and made me remember my dream to be a performer. I thank you and I love you. To Ethan, if you're watching this, mate, I love you. I appreciate the opportunity that you gave me, and I'll always forever be indebted to you. And I'll always try my best to return the favour, even though I think that is actually impossible. I'll see you soon, bud. And finally, to you guys sitting here and watching this full video, learning about who I am and who I'm trying to be, does more for me than I think you genuinely can imagine. I love you guys with all my heart. I'm going to keep working as hard as I can, posting as much content as possible, and spending every single day trying to pay back the debt that I owe you, which is giving me a dream that I couldn't have dreamt. I love you guys so much. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button. And if you're new around here, please hit the subscribe button. It allows me to elevate my platform and do the best I can to produce the best content that I can. The time right now is 10:30. I'm gonna go to bed. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.